because I don't think I realized we were going to be outside, and my Irish skin is not going to last. So, please.
In February, you announced a relief plan to try to deal with overcrowding on trains, putting some more trains in service, borrowing some trains from Maryland. If you've seen on Twitter, commuters are posting lots of photos. They're still crammed in trains. They're riding in places they shouldn't be riding in. They're crammed in buses. Basically, what's gone wrong? Why are we not seeing that relief?
First thing is to say, and I'm going to ask Diane to come up and give you some color here. First thing to say is that we said also in February, and I think we've said at every moment, including today, we can't turn this thing around overnight. This is eight plus years building, and we can't promise you from one day to the next we're going to have a miraculous turnaround, but we are doggedly pursuing that. Diane, would you mind adding a little bit of color?
Not at all, Governor. So Larry, the short-term plan was meant to create some immediate relief. But as we continue to try to march down the road to PTC, we still have to take cars off the line. So the Maryland cars are assisting, but when you can't plan financially how you're going to inventory your parts in the yards to make sure the trains are coming in and going out quickly, and I think I heard somebody behind me say, "Yep," you gotta know where the money's coming from. And so we had a lot of energy at Transit when we announced that in February, and we starting to make good progress. But then you pull back again. You know, these folks, they're trying to do their job. They're trying to make sure that they can provide on-time service. We're trying to make sure PTC gets done. This is the perfect storm. The previous administration had probably 5 or 6 years to get PTC done, but they left it for us, and we're going to do it. That's not a problem. We're going to get it done. But it's not going to be, as the governor said, it's never going to be a perfect world, but we're going to keep trying to deliver the very best we can. And when we have trains that don't have enough cars, we're going to do our best to get trains out of the yards back on the track. We have to do it safely, but we have to make sure we have the money to inventory parts, to have people out there working, to bring in engineers, to do all the things that make a train system run. And I have to say, in 5.5 months, I mean, we've made more progress, and I've said this before, than some people have in 8 years.
Thank you. Others, Michael.
Governor, it sounds like you're more inclined to do a line item veto than an outright veto. A line item veto would be the end of the budget and there would be no shutdown. An outright veto, it seems, would kick it back to the legislature all over again and there would be a shutdown. To what extent am I mirroring your thinking?
I would say all options, and I say that honestly, are on the table, sadly. Until we break this crazed fever of kicking the can down the road, gimmicks, phantom revenues, phantom savings, all options are on the table, and sadly that includes shutting the state down. So I had a call this morning on that topic as well. We are going to stand on the side of the 9 million residents in this state who are saying enough is enough is enough, and we will not relent until we get this fixed. Please. I would just repeat what I said. All options are on the table. Please. Okay, we'll go back and then we'll come 1, 2, 3 here.
The NJ Transit and probably the governor's office recently got correspondence from the FRA, the Federal Railroad Administration, saying that they have little confidence that you can even meet the deadline to get a waiver to put PTC in beyond December 31st. What reassurance are you giving the FRA or your administration giving the FRA that yes, we will meet at least the deadline to apply for an extension?
So I'm going to make a general comment. I'm going to ask Diane to come back up, and Kevin should add anything in here that he'd like as well. The most important thing I could say to commuters is we're running a safe system. They need to know that. These folks could talk about the deadline and the relationship between the FRA, but they're committed. They come in every day. All the folks who work there every single day, they're committed to running a safe NJ Transit, bus, rail, all of the above. Diane, why don't you come in just for a moment?
So, Brian, you're right. We did get a letter where FRA acknowledged that they were concerned. That letter was based on March 31st data, not current data. We're already almost finished a quarter. I would say to you that our FRA relationship has improved significantly. FRA has seen a culture change at transit. They have seen a different attitude, pencils down, heads down. Everybody's focused on the mission, right, and delivering on the mission. So yes, we got the letter. Yes, we will respond to the letter because that's what we do. At the end of the day, Kevin and I will travel to Washington for the next FRA meeting so that they are clear of the governor's commitment on PTC. And if that takes me taking a day to go to Washington, I'm happy to do that with Kevin. But I would suggest to you that you're talking about a letter that's based on very old data in a very dynamic situation. And I think we're fairly close and confident that we will get the alternative schedule approved by FRA.
You may have to pay for your own trip, by the way.
No worries.
Governor, may I just,
I'll drive.
just one thing I want to stress is that the PTC agree with everything Diane said. The FRA has been incredible the last 3 months in cooperating and helping us. I want to give them a shout out. And the other thing is this is a safety enhancement. By no means are the nations or New Jersey Transit Rail passengers have anything there. We run a safe railroad currently, as the FRA ensures.
Amen. Brett, and then we're going to come over to Max.
Past governors are given 6 months security detail, but Chris Christie's is about to run out before that. Did you ask the state police to end it before the 6-month mark?
That's something I think I was asked about this in some other context a few months ago. That's not something we talk about. I think you should direct that toward the state police, please. By the way, the guy or the gal in that plane right now needs to pay their fair share. Please.
Senator Paul Salvo seems a fairly significant player here as the chair of the budget committee.
Yep.
If you extend an invitation for him to participate, how significant is it that he's not here, A? And B, a question to Assemblyman Calabrese, if I could. Sir, is your presence here atonement for having supported the legislative version of the budget? Are you now, based on what you've heard today, saying, yes, I support the governor's version of the budget?
You don't get the word atonement a lot in questions. I just want to acknowledge that. I spoke to, I love that. I spoke to Paul, saw him yesterday, spoke to him this morning. I'll let Paul speak for himself. I don't think he's making any statement. He had to work today, as he reminded me he had to put bread on the table. Clint, do you want to say anything, or you're happy to be here? Amen. I'm getting there, Ryan. Ryan. Under their budget or ours?
Under theirs.
What's the number under theirs?
So it's been on average about a $400 million transfer, but until we know what the budget actually provides to us, I can't answer that question. Until we, the transit budget, like the DOT budget, is relying on the state budget. So until we know what we're going to get from the state, we can't estimate what that's going to be.
The budget that lawmakers just passed provides the same amount of money to NJ Transit.
It doesn't, right? It doesn't. So I would suggest that it's not going to do a lot to change the number. Hopefully it'll lower it a little bit, but that is a long-term path that we have to find to get the capital to operating maintenance transfers to end. But at the end of the day, you can take that money from the Turnpike, you can take it from the DOT. You, again, are just robbing Peter to pay Paul. You're not helping anything.
That's the problem.
Okay, you're not helping anything here.
That's the problem. It's the Peter to Paul, not to mention other, Michael, 1 second, other apostles, as you said, coming along. One more time. So conversations, number one, we had a good, I would say, professional and clinical meeting yesterday with a broad leadership from both chambers, largely trying to reconcile any differences of opinion on sort of base numbers. That was followed up by yet another meeting between OLS and OMB and Treasury, which was sort of a replay of a meeting that they had last Thursday. Again, professionals on both sides. In fact, at least 2 of our key people are OLS alums from last year. There's a good working relationship. I'm not going to be the governor, the last one who took shots at OLS. They're all trying to do their job, but I think it's fairly clear where the numbers fall out. This is a very collaborative process, getting a budget done. We all know that, except for one piece, and that is I singularly have to certify that budget, both on the revenue and the expense side. And so I've got to personally be comfortable and rely on a rational, objective, rules-based, calling balls and strikes assessment of those numbers. So that was a big chunk of yesterday. We've called another group meeting of leadership teams from both chambers for later on today, and I hope we can make progress. With the exception of some working group meetings where they're like the OLS, OMB meetings, I'm in all these meetings. I'm available every minute, every hour, every day. And so I expect that I'm personally going to be very much involved as I have been up until now. And again, I'm going to continue to stand for what I believe in, which is people have said enough of this stuff. They want to break this fever, turn the page, get back to sort of the sensible, what are our investments, what's our long-term plan, and where are the long-term revenues coming from? And that's what I'm committed to. Michael? Yep, we did. We will, rather. One more, I think we're going to break because of the sunshine, but.
Under the legislature's budget, are we in danger of a fair lane?
I don't think we could take anything off the table, to be frank with you. Particularly if we have to go through this awful process of gutting our expenditures in order to have a fiscally viable budget. I think everyone has to assume that everything is on the table. I want to thank again not just Diane, Kevin, and Ray, but the extraordinary group that joined me today. You all have plenty of things you could be doing, day jobs, your elected capacities, whatever it might be, and I'm really humbled that you all would have come out. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Tom.
Fix it, fund it, make it fair.